Our keys to the game, first for number 9 ranked Oklahoma. These two teams met last year in Norman, and Wichita State actually led at halftime. So you would imagine that Jenny Baranchek, the head coach at OU, would want them to come out with a little more urgency. The Beers and 21 thing was just my play on Beers and being 21. So I admit that. Although Megan Beers is averaging nearly 25 points a game, so that's something to keep an eye on, the transfer from Oregon State. And to spread the wealth, to keep Wichita State honest, as Beers and Sahara Williams average over 40 points per game between the two of them. And if Wichita State's going to pull the upset, they're going to have contributions for everybody. Be strong with the ball, limit the OU possessions, and try to get some easy ones on offense because, Tracy, no team that has played Oklahoma so far this year has even managed to shoot 30%. So it's going to be a tough climb for the Shockers.
Yes, it is. And the Shockers are going to have to play great on both ends of the floor, and they can't have lapses on either end or it could get out of hand.
Taylor Jamison, one of the heroes in Wichita's Saturday win against St. Thomas, distributes, and immediately Wichita State turns it over. Dead ball turnover certainly better than live against number 9 ranked Oklahoma, fresh off a 122-56 win over Western Carolina. And a 3 is good by Peyton Verhulst, who made her OU debut against Wichita State last year, scored 16 down in Norman.
She can shoot it. Very versatile player. Long, can put it on the floor, has excellent shooting touch with range.
Celeste Blow handling it for Wichita State. OU did not shoot it well at all from three-point range in their first 2 games, and then found it against Western Carolina. They made 10 triples. Jamison into the keyhole, rims it out. Rebound by the preseason All-American Reagan Beers.
That was a great read by Jamison. Nice pull-up jump shot, just couldn't quite get it down.
Good overplay by Jayla Murray, but Nevaeh Tot will trigger it in for OU and immediately turns it away. A rare mistake by Tot. And all the way down Broadway is Breon White with her first 2. Breon White had 3 points and 10 rebounds against St. Thomas in their most recent game. Reagan Beers draws a lot of attention, and a jump ball. It'll stay at this end with OU.
A great double team by the Shockers. They came early, so Beers couldn't even turn and face.
Verhulst to inbounds for Oklahoma. And a hair trigger shot from the left side is no good by Skylar Vann, but an offensive rebound put back by Sahara Williams.
And Williams, pure power right there, got the board and just cleared space and went straight up.
Sahara Williams comes in averaging 16.3 per game. She had 16 against Western Carolina. Honorable mention, all Big 12 a year ago. Sahara Williams. Decorated players all the way up and down this OU roster. They are an absolute handful. They were picked to finish 4th in the SEC in their first year in the conference. Rebound and clear by Sahara Williams.
That was a good move by Celeste Blow. Just couldn't get it to finish, and a great deny by Yankin.
And kind of a telegraph pass by Reagan Beers. And Yankin finishes in transition. That was one of the keys to the game. Wichita State's going to make this game. They need plenty of those transition buckets.
Because that is unguardable.
Reagan Beers gets her first 2. She was almost perfect against Western Carolina. 27 points. She's averaging a double-double in each of the last 2 seasons. Last year at Oregon State, this year at Oklahoma.
And here's the dilemma. You can't play behind her. And if you front her, you have to pressure the ball.
Taylor Jamison with a triple for Wichita State. Knots it up at 7. Muscling it in is Sahara Williams. Left it a little bit short. Rebound on the deck. I think that was last touched by Jayla Murray. And it was.
Yes.
And maybe...
Good call, Shane.
Thank you. Thank you. Maybe to take your comment a step further, Tracy, if you're going to beat Oklahoma, you have to pick your poison. Pretty plain and simple. And OU was 9 of 54 from three-point range in their first 2 games. You've got to take away something.
Yeah.
And they are big, and they're long inside. And maybe, just maybe, pack the paint, collapse against the post players, and take your chances on OU's outside shots.
Right, and this is their first road game, so you have to pick your poison. They can't guard Beers one-on-one, and so they're going to have to bring help. But you also have to bring ball pressure, so the person who's passing the ball can't just pick you apart.
And this is a really, really experienced Oklahoma team. They've added 2 superstar freshmen, but for the most part, this is a veteran OU team. And on top of that, you add Reagan Beers, the junior All-America preseason from Oregon State. Lexi Keys checks in for Oklahoma, one of 3, including Liz Scott. And Zaya Van, one of the freshmen from OU. Van had 12 points in that game against Western Carolina. Everybody got in the act in a record-setting performance against WCU. They shot 63% from the floor, 55.5% from 3, and shattering the school record for points.
The Shockers had a mismatch early, and they just took too long to get her the ball.
Aisha Indoor, the 6'6" post player for Wichita State, checks in and shuffled her feet on the way to the bucket.
And that's one thing, like I talked earlier about, she has to just catch and go up. She's trying to make a counter move, and that was a situation she didn't need a counter move. She had the height advantage, good block.
Out of bounds as Verhulst at 6'1" was rejected by the 6'6" Indoor. And to your point, when you're 6'6", you're probably not going to get your shot blocked.
No.
Just to take it straight up and be deliberate if you have to. Another long 2 off the inbound by Skylar Van. She's 0 for 2 in those situations. She is one of the 2 on the Naismith Award watch list, along with Reagan Beers. Skylar Van averaging nearly 12 points and over 7 rebounds per. And that was last touch by Indoor. So Wichita State making a concerted effort to try to enter the post, but back-to-back turnovers in trying to do so.
Yeah, and they're trying to enter the post off the first pass strong side. You kind of have to get the ball reversal, and then you have an easier option for an entry pass. That's a tough pass.
Zaya Van averaging nearly 7 points per game, freshman out of Bethany High School. Straightaway jumper rims out for Breon White. Defensive rebound for Oklahoma. Verhulst with a 3, wouldn't go. Indoor got the rebound and got fouled. So a hair-triggered 3 on the left wing after the ball was batted out. Wouldn't go down for Verhulst. Ella Ancio checks in for Wichita State. This is a superior rebounding team in Oklahoma. On top of everything else that they're excellent at, they are up among the nation's leaders in total rebounds garnered. Now, when you hold everybody under 30%, there's a lot of missed shots to be had. So that kind of explains that stat. But a lot of things Wichita State's got to do very, very well tonight. They're going to spring the upset.
And I really do think that not just scoring-wise, but on the offensive end, they have to use as much clock. They got to keep the ball out of the Sooners' hands.
Ancio with the bucket, and that's one thing that Wichita State has done very well nationally, too. Grab offensive rebounds, nearly 19 a game, and that one led to an Ancio layup. As we near the midway point here in the quarter, Shockers 4 of 8 from the floor. Sooners 4 out of 9. Jordan Jackson checks in for Wichita State, giving Celeste Blow her first rest. Overplay by Jamison, but Van collects. Now into the right corner, Verhulst for 3. Peyton Verhulst, her second triple, the transfer from Louisville, was a newcomer of the year in the Big 12 last year.
She just has a really smooth stroke. She gets her feet set and has a quick release.
Murray with a left-handed runner wouldn't go. Bit of a prayer, went unanswered. Back the other way, OU with a 3-point advantage. Van, nice step
move.
through,
Yes.
a little short, and Beers missed the layup, and it'll go to Wichita State. So a timeout on the floor. One of 2 3-pointers for Verhulst. She has 6 in the early going for the Sooners. Oklahoma with a 12-9 lead. After the first media timeout, Jenny Baranczyk, the head coach at Oklahoma, coming off a Big 12 Coach of the Year award. They've gone to the NCAA tournament at OU each of her first 3 years at Oklahoma. There you see the resume coming from Drake before OU and before that. Tracy, she was a very, very good player at the University of Iowa. 1,700 points and over 800 rebounds.
She was a very smooth player. I remember watching her play. Obviously has translated that into the coaching ranks. And, of course, playing under, a future Hall of Famer in Lisa Bluter.
Yeah.
Has a great coaching resume. So the Sooners are definitely in good hands.
They are. Jordan Jackson misses a little mid-range shot for Wichita State. There's a bit of an unforced error as Zaya Van had a little too much mustard on that pass that flies out of bounds. It's 4 early turnovers on the Sooners. I mentioned earlier that Oklahoma exploded for 122 points. That 63.2% from the floor was their 5th best in a game ever. And they had 31 assists in that game against Western Carolina.
That's an amazing stat. 31 assists. I mean, scoring 122 points is great, but to have it on assists, that just tells you how they distribute the ball and play together.
And a average nearly 24 assists per game so far this year in their first 3. Shockers give it back. Nevaeh Tot making her 88th consecutive start for OU back in there. Now Liz Scott, number 34 in crimson, checks in for the first time. There she is with an elbow jumper. Too hard, no good.
That was a good defensive possession by the Shockers.
Here comes KP Parr, number 2 in white. There's Murray, hooks it in the lane and banks it in. Jayla Murray's first bucket. She comes in averaging just about 8 a game for the Shocks. And now Williams' left side 3 is good. 3 first quarter 3-pointers for Oklahoma. And boy, if those are falling for the Sooners, I don't care who they're playing, they are going to make life miserable for the opponents. They're excellent from 2-point range, but those threes are just icing on the cake for OU.
Yeah, they hadn't shot the 3-2 very well in the first 3 games. I mean, Verhulst, who's already hit 2, is only shooting just over 18% from 3, so.
KP Parr misfires for the Shockers. Williams back the other way, wouldn't go. And 1-on-3, Liz Scott tried to keep it alive for Oklahoma.
I just like Williams' game. I mean, she's powerful yet smooth. I mean, there's nothing jerky about her game, but boy, she gets in the paint, and that's a tough gal to stop because she has pure power and can elevate.
Lexi Keys triggers it in, a quick pass underneath, and a layup and score it. Spears with a 3-point opportunity. The ball doesn't stick very often in an OU player's hands, and you get a bird's eye view of why they are up among the nation's leaders in assists.
Yeah, and that's a prime example. I was talking earlier about the Shockers. The ball went to the right side of the floor and a quick reversal, and even though she was fronted, there's just no way that you can one-on-one man handle her in the paint, especially if they are allowed to reverse the ball. The Shockers cannot allow the ball to reverse quickly, or she will continue to have easy buckets.
Fouls on Miyamuna Sissoko. Checks in for the first time for Wichita State. Beers misfires on the free throw, so she's parked at 4 points so far in the opening quarter. Sooners with their biggest lead. There's Breon White working on Liz Scott, lost it. Williams down Broadway, kicks it to the right for Keys 3. Lexi Keys has connected on Oklahoma's 4th 3-pointer of the quarter. And it's 20-11, 8-0 OU run. And coming into tonight's game, Tracy, Oklahoma had played, of course, 12 quarters in 3 games. And in 9 of those quarters, 9 of the 12 quarters, they'd scored 20 or more points and they've had 4 30-point quarters so far this year. So, and again, we talked about it. You got to pick your poison with OU, with Beers and Skylar Van down low. Well, all they've done tonight is hit 4 out of 5 3-pointers.
Yeah, if the Sooners are going to get that consistently, that definitely changes the face of their game, because they're not only a power team, but a team that will punish you if you double. So how do you, if you're a Shocker, how do you combat that? Number one, I think offensively, you have to use as much as the clock as you can, because if they're allowed a lot of possessions, I don't think the Shockers can win that ball game. They've got to be very diligent and deliberate in their offensive set and use as much as the clock as they can, unless they have a wide open shot. But I just don't think they can shoot quickly out of the shot clock.
And make a few threes. That wouldn't hurt either. Wichita State, as I mentioned, averaging 18.8 offensive rebounds per game in their first 4. That's tops in the American. And if they approach that, then I feel like maybe they've got a fighter's chance.
Right, exactly. Yeah, they're going to have to get extra possessions, and just limit the Sooners to 1 shot if they can.
Yeah, easier said than done.
Wow.
There's another
That's
3 by Verhulst. The newcomer of the year in the Big 12 last year only had 6 points against Western Carolina. She's already got 9 tonight. That is an 11-0 Sooner run, and it's happened in a blink of an eye. Pard jumper wouldn't go. Nevaeh Tot back the other way. She's the quarterback, number 1 in Crimson. She distributes to all these Sooner scores, and there's Beers finishing with the left hand. She's got 6 in the quarter. Oklahoma has made its last 4, and the Shockers have gone cold.
It's great execution by the Sooners. The ball moves quickly. It doesn't stick.
Ancio had it poked away by Beers and a steal.
It's a lot of contact.
Lob underneath. Speaking of a lot of contact, there's going to be an offensive foul.
That's a good call.
Sahara Williams sealing off the player guarding her. May have extended the...
Yeah, it's kind of a hook over on the, over Jackson's shoulder. And anytime you don't have those palms facing, it's going to be an offensive foul. Palms have to face the official. Just like on defense, the offensive player can't hold her position either. She's got to have her palms facing forward, or that's considered a hold.
About a 4-second differential between the shot and game clock. Wichita State searching for a bucket here. They've gone scoreless in the last 3 minutes. And now Oklahoma can't hold it for the last shot. This is Raina Scott checking in for the first time.
Oh, what a feed.
Oh, one pass too many for Oklahoma. That had Harlem Globetrotters written on it. Skylar Van just a little too tall with her pass. It goes out of bounds. And that's about the only thing that Oklahoma hasn't done very, very well. That's 6 turnovers in the quarter. Other than that, they've been efficient offensively, 10 out of 19 from the floor. But the real key, Tracy, is 5 out of 6 from three-point range in that opening quarter.
They were on fire.
Absolutely. A 13-0 Sooner run ends quarter number 1 here in Wichita. Here's what Oklahoma has done statistically in the first 3 games of the season, and that is in the country, not in the SEC. 58 rebounds per, out-rebounding their opponents by 30. And there you see the helpers and the scoring and pretty much all the way up and down the line. There's hard to find fault in any part of Oklahoma's game, especially now that they're starting to hit three-pointers.
Yeah, I was going to say if they had one small crack in their armor, it was their three-point shooting, but they erased that very quickly.
Yeah, they've now made 14 of their last 23 threes dating back to that Western Carolina game, so they're starting to find the range from there too. They are a scary team to match up with, and they finished the first quarter on a 13-0 run. Jayla Murray not looking for it. An easy steal by Skylar Van.
Oh, great pass.
And up ahead to Raina Scott, who finishes. That's now 9 assists on 11 baskets. And the beat goes on for the Sooners.
And I think you see right there why Verhulst was the Big 12 newcomer there last year in the Big 12, because she can do so many things. She's long, she's lanky, but that was a beautiful touch pass. She can stroke it.
And she's
a really nice player.
Sorry, Tracy, she's originally a native of
yes.
DeSoto, Kansas. So
yes.
A homecoming of sorts. So far, so great for her. Ella Ancio was kind of face guarding Skylar Van on Van's way to the bucket. And it was last touched by Van, the redshirt senior from Edmond, Oklahoma, and Deer Creek High School. Again, on the Naismith Award watch list to start the year, 2 of the 5 starters for OU on the Naismith watch list. Whistle and a foul. I think both umpires, Mark Resch and Jeff Wooten, both saw the same thing.
Yeah.
So a foul whistled on Oklahoma, first on either team of the quarter. 4th team foul overall for OU. Murray forced, but couldn't find the range. Defensive rebound by Skylar Van. Only 1 offensive rebound for Wichita State so far tonight. After the game was knotted up at 7 apiece, it's been all Oklahoma since. Jamison doesn't have the numbers.
Well, the Shockers desperately need a bucket here.
And an offensive foul on Wichita State. Looked like Skylar Van took a shot from, I think, Ella Ancio.
Oh, yeah. I'm kind of surprised they're not going to the monitor, since that was a headshot, but
we will play on. Wichita State with a little pressure in backcourt, and KP Parr the steal. And she's bumped. The bigger Raina Scott trying to keep up with a quicker KP Parr, and she didn't give her quite enough room. So another turnover for Oklahoma. Wichita State trying to cash it in for a bucket for the first time in a long time. Lexi Keys checks back in for the Sooners.
And that's the other thing, is that the Sooners are also deep. They're not just 5. I mean, they can go 10 deep and then some.
Murray got a little space for herself and banked it in. May have cleared out against Skylar Van, but Murray's second bucket. Verhulst got a shot, didn't want to take it.
But look at that pass. That's just a perfect pass.
In traffic, too.
Yes, great catch.
Parr in traffic, left it short. Murray kept it alive, and OU clears. And in addition to being deep, Oklahoma can play just about however you want it.
Right.
They've got 8 players at 6 feet or taller, so they can go big. And they can bring Keys into the game. Nevaeh Tots 5'3" and quick as a hiccup. So whatever you want to play, Oklahoma can do it with you. And now Reagan Beers and 2 other Sooners getting ready to check back in. It'll be Zaya Van and Sahara Williams, in addition to Beers checking in. Kirsten Johnson will be at the free throw line. And that is one thing we haven't seen from the Sooners. They had one free throw attempt, no attempts by Wichita State. Kirsten Johnson averaging 5 points and 5 rebounds through the first 3. And she's 6'4".
Yes, and so a long 6'4".
Yeah, knocks in the second free throw. So Johnson's on the board. Beers replaces her.
So you go from, a runner, athletic, and then in comes Beers. And so, she's just a power. Not that she's not athletic, because she is, but she's just pure power, too.
Miankin over Beers. Couldn't connect. Rebound by Verhulst. All Sooners on the weak side.
But this is the thing, that the Shockers are so concerned about the Sooners transition. They have nobody going to the offensive boards. So it's an easy rebound for the Sooners. And I think you have to kind of try to commit. They got to start getting some, possessions, some extra possessions. So they might have to start sending 1 or 2 kids to the offensive glass just to keep them honest.
Sahara Williams got stripped going up. Shockers back the other way. Jamison trying to weave through traffic, does so. Maybe partially blocked, but got bumped. Jamison will go to the free throw line. 3 points on the only three-point field goal make by Wichita State tonight.
She's fearless. I mean, size is not an issue for her. She doesn't see herself as small because she sure plays big.
Zaya Van, the foul. And Jamison was one of the chief reasons why Wichita State was able to pull away from St. Thomas on Saturday. She was excellent at the foul line, had 18 points. Played a near flawless floor game.
Yes, she did.
And the second free throw splashes in there. She's a Wichita native playing her final year here at Wichita State after transferring from George Mason. And we talked about this at length already, the first quarter plus. Tracy, you've got to, if you're going to beat Oklahoma, you got to take away something. And to your point, and Van scores again, if you're not a crassy offensive glass, you better play airtight defense.
Yes.
So you're putting pressure on yourself one way or the other. And a turnover as Van comes up with it. And that's going to be an offensive foul. But the thing that Oklahoma, the suddenness of the Sooners offensively, there's absolutely no sticking of the ball, as we mentioned. They haven't played a perfect first half. They've had 10 turnovers, but you have to be on your toes and razor sharp to get ready for the offensive sets that OU runs.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think, you know, Coach Moronchuk is going to be upset about those 10 turnovers because a lot of them have been unforced, and they got to clean that up before they get into SEC play.
3 minutes gone by in the second quarter. Niankin, a good look for Jayla Murray, who finishes. Murray with the left hand now has 6 points. And a steal by Niankin. 1-on-2, splits two defenders, left it short. There's Murray. There's an offensive rebound we were talking about. Murray already with 8 points. Shockers back within 11. Oklahoma led by as many as 16 a moment ago. And that one crawls around the rim and settles in for 3.
Keys was smiling about that because I think she touched every part of the rim before that ball dropped in.
We don't see three-pointers take a tour of the rim like that and go in very often. Keys beating everyone up the floor the other way. So a three-pointer a moment ago, a fast break bucket there. She's got 8. And just like that, Oklahoma back up 16 with a timeout.
3 on the...
Lexi Keys is a member of the 1,000-point club, although she did most of it at Oklahoma State. She has 8 points here tonight for the Sooners, beating everybody down the floor. Just after Tracy, she had a 3-point make, one of her 2 so far, and one of 6 triples knocked down by Oklahoma tonight.
Yeah, and that last play, that transition bucket, was with no Shockers going to the offensive board. So you just absolutely cannot give up a layup in transition like that. So, but, you know, she's played, 120-some games in her career at Oklahoma State, and that was against a freshman. So KP Parr will learn, you know, as she grows. But just a really nice player and a great complementary player to the rest of this Sooners team.
4 of the 5 original starters in there for Wichita State, including Niankin, who misses a knifing layup attempt. Rebound pulled down by Beers. Van, little free throw line jumper is good. Zaya Van got 6 points off the Sooner bench.
She is a nice looking freshman. Smooth, long, pull up, can get to the rim.
Lead up to 18 now for Oklahoma, the largest. Not too long after Wichita State cut it down to 11. But 7 points in 41 seconds for Oklahoma. White fires and hits. 3 on White. Her second bucket. Beers draws a lot of attention and can't haul in the pass. Good anticipation by White. Parr tried to draw some contact, lost her balance, and threw up a wild one, claimed by Oklahoma. And a lob, actually, I think, hit the rim. Beers, though, collects, steps through, and hits. Reagan Beers has 8 points. The #1 transfer in the country from Oregon State goes to OU. She had 27 against Western Carolina. White hits again. Breon White, her second consecutive make.
And she just does a really good job of timing when she's going to post.
Van turns and fires, can't hit. Good box out by White, kept Beers off the offensive glass. And on top of everything else that OU does well, their transition defense has been impeccable so far. Everybody hustling back to a spot. Celeste Blow had it deflected and stolen away. Skylar Van in transition. Beats White to the bucket and lays it in. Skylar Van's first couple. Preseason All-SEC. Closing in on 1,500 career points. Skylar Van from Deer Creek High School.
She was the co-Big 12 Player of the Year last year. And she's relatively quiet tonight because she hasn't had to score.
KP Parr with an acrobatic shot. Verhulst with a 30-footer left a little bit short. Niankin with a defensive rebound. What Oklahoma has coming back from last year is almost beyond comprehension. 98% of their scoring plus Reagan Beers.
I know.
All 5 of their starters plus Beers. A 3 is splashed in by Celeste Blow. She's added that to her game this year. Celeste Blow with her 7th three-pointer on the year. Her first points of the night.
I mean, you have 98% coming back, and then you add an All-American.
Van for 3, and you've got Oklahoma in their last game and a half stepping up their three-point game. Points coming in a hurry. Niankin tries to answer, no good. Beers with a rebound, that's her 5th. She's closing in on another double-double already. A step-back three, boy, if that went in, Wichita State would have had it driven through their heart that it was going to be OU's night, and it still might. Jamison with a hanging jumper is good. Wichita State's starting to find the range offensively here in the last couple of minutes.
They've really picked it up on the offensive end.
Verhulst with a give and go lay-in is good. Her first 2 of the night. He's got 11. And Oklahoma shooting 58% from the floor. They would just wear you out. As Tracy mentioned, they are deep, they're athletic, and they never stop on offense. They basically have a hockey line change coming in. 4 Sooners and 3 Shockers will check in. And this is in spite of Wichita State making 4 of their last 5 from the floor. And the Shockers still are down by 16. KP Parr will go to the free throw line. Parr's had her issues from the stripe. She knocks that one down. That'll give her 3. She averages just over 7 per. Good-looking freshman from Waco. That one left short. Good box off by Kirsten Johnson, one of the Sooners that's checked back in.
Wow.
And run in the floor with abandon, Liz Scott, but couldn't finish.
And I don't know if the TV shot could have seen that, but Verholtz, as soon as she caught, her eyes were looking, and so she knew right away where she was going with that ball. That was just amazing. Look at her, eyes up, surveying the floor.
Verholtz left alone for 3, no good. This is more of a track team than anything else. If you're OU, they never stop attacking. Offensive rebound by Ancio, had it rejected by Kirsten Johnson. OU controls. Last minute and a half. Tot couldn't get away from Jamison. And a right side 3 by Jones, who's in there for the first time. Aubrey Jones, who had 19 against Wichita State last year. Misses on her first attempt, the transfer from Iowa State.
Great D coming off that ball screen by Jones.
Jamison in the land of the Giants. Got bailed out by Ancio. 9 to shoot. And that's rejected out of bounds. The larger Verhulst rejected the 5-4 KP par with 5 to shoot for Wichita State. And you got to be in some kind of physical shape to run with OU. All the players that they run at you. Murray misfires. Liz Scott collects. Here's Tot back the other way, the quarterback for OU.
And they're just so quick. The ball's up the floor, no excessive dribbling.
Yeah, banker is good by Liz Scott, her first bucket. And Oklahoma leading by 17. Shockers will hold for the final shot. 20-plus points in each of the first 2 quarters run up by the Sooners. It's either 47 or 48 for OU. There's some discrepancy as Jamison hits a buzzer-beating 3 for the second time in as many games. This was quite a bit closer than her half-court heave against St. Thomas. But even with that shot, Oklahoma is in command as they pile up near 50 points in the first half. Tracy, an impressive half of basketball for the 9th-ranked team in the land.
It was across the board. It was a great job.
We're hanging with OU, but this is a 40-minute game, and it's one thing to hang with it for 20 minutes at the breakneck pace that Oklahoma plays. It's yet another to be able to last through the third and the fourth quarters.
Yeah, and you're exactly right. And so I think it's going to be really important the first 4 minutes of this quarter, because if you let them get out too much of a lead, then it becomes a whole different ball game. So if they can just stay, tight, win the first 2 minutes, and then win the next 2 minutes, and see how they respond to that, because they haven't come out of halftime very good, the Shockers, the last couple of games.
Wichita State, you would hope if you're a Shocker fan, at some point you got to take away something from OU, but if you can't, try to play 3s for 2s and see what happens. And again, you can't necessarily just play honest against Oklahoma and make up a 14-point deficit, so you got to overplay and take some chances on defense.
Yeah, I think they have to stay aggressive defensively and not let the ball move quickly on reversals. I think that will help them, and they need to do a better job of getting back in transition. And I think you need to take a chance and go to the offensive glass and get some extra possessions.
Individually, Wichita State was led by Taylor Jamison. She had 10 points. Jayla Murray had 8. Both those very efficient from the floor. Oklahoma led by Peyton Verhulst. She hit 3 early threes. She had 11 points. Lexi Keys had 8 in only 9 minutes off the bench, and Reagan Beers, All-America post player, was 4 out of 5 from the floor, had 8 points and 5 rebounds in a very efficient first half for her. Sooners had the ball first. Beers bullying Breon White down on the block, and after about 10 seconds, Beers is in double figures.
Just like that. ISO specific play just to get her the ball and executed perfectly.
Shockers' first offensive possession of quarter number 3. They got their original starting 5 out there. Celeste Blow has been really quiet over the last game plus this one. Against Northern Iowa, she only had 2 points. She's only got 3 here tonight.
And again, no Shockers going to the offensive boards on that end.
Down low for Beers, and she couldn't hit the bunny that time. Only her second miss.
Yeah, that doesn't happen very often.
And Van tries to make it hurt after the offensive rebound, and Jayla Murray collects for Wichita State.
Nice board by Murray. Kind of garnered that between 2 Oklahoma players.
Taylor Jamison to Blow. Down low, Murray lost it going up. She had a layup, or at least was looking at a layup, and couldn't finish. May have lost her balance or had a slip out of her hands on her way to the bucket. A good job by Niankin to thwart a fast break opportunity for Oklahoma. Just slapped it out of bounds. Ella Ancio checks back in for Wichita State. OU trying to improve to 4-0 for the second year in a row. A little jumper off the inbound, wouldn't go. Rebound to Yankin. So Oklahoma has provided at least a little bit of a crack in the door for Wichita State. Down 16, minute and a half gone by in the third. And Murray is bumped by Skylar Van.
Yeah, the Shockers have done a good job so far of limiting the Sooners to one shot and out. But now they have to be able to add something on the offensive end.
Yankin covered up by Nevaeh Tott. And now Tott will rotate over and check Jamison. Jumper
Nice.
by Murray is good. She's had a solid floor game. Jayla Murray is now 5 for 10 from the floor, 10 points.
That's a really good shot for her. I love that shot. She can knock it down.
Beers is bumped by Ella Ancio, and that give and go from OU,
Yes.
it's like a constant three-man weave. Beers is going to go to the free throw line, and if Reagan Beers gets 25 or more here tonight, she's got 10, so she's right on her way. She would become the first Sooner with 3 straight 25 or more point games since Courtney Paris.
Wow.
Back in 2006. That is rarefied air.
Especially the teams that Oklahoma has had, you know, the national championships. That's quite an outstanding feat.
Beers misfires on both, so missed an opportunity to get a couple of freebies. Beers just a shade under 69% from the free throw line this year. And she has missed all of her free throws here tonight.
And you know, Shane, the other thing that makes that even more amazing is that they have scores all around her. So it's not like she's hogging possessions or she's shooting majority of the points. They have scores literally all around her.
Well, I've solved that riddle because she shoots 76% from the floor, so she doesn't need a high volume of shots.
Right.
It's incredible.
So that's what I mean. I mean, you're shooting 76%, and people go, well, yeah, she's in the paint, but you know, she's got people hanging on her, and it has to be a good pass. That tells you about the type of passing that Oklahoma shows you.
Got a timeout on the floor with OU up 14. Whether there was a foul committed prior to a shot clock violation. And as you see there, the foul was ticketed to Reagan Beers, and it was determined that it was before a violation, so that will result in 2 free throws for Wichita State. So a timeout on the floor and an opportunity to sort through some things that you, the viewer, didn't have to wait through. So I figure we killed 2 birds with 1 stone there. Celise Blow will shoot free throws, where the Shockers are 3 of 4 tonight.
Well, and Shane, you know, the Shockers have to be happy because, you know, that's 2.5 minutes into this game, and they've actually cut the lead down to 13 points. So that's a win.
And Wichita State has held Oklahoma scoreless for nearly 2.5 minutes here in the quarter. Blow missed the free throw, and Niankin almost snuck in and got an offensive rebound. And a lob underneath at the last moment. Beers turned her head after Skylar Van, I think, saw her as she was getting ready to rise for the shot, and Reagan Beers couldn't read her mind, I guess.
Yeah, and I just love coaches because Coach Baranchek was just going, why? And that's exactly right. All she had to do is reverse the ball, and it would have been wide open.
Whistle and a foul. It's going to go against Oklahoma. That'll be the 4th OU foul of the quarter. So a turnover on Van, the last OU possession. That's 13 committed by the Sooners here tonight. Ella Ancio in there for Wichita State. With 4 other Shockers starters. 4 OU starters, along with Lexi Keys out there for OU. Short corner jumpers left short from Ella Ancio, maybe a little further out than her range would allow. Here comes Nevaeh Tott back the other way, and she throws it away. Jamison with a steal, 3-on-3 the other way. Blow a 3 in transition, left it short. Murray with an offensive rebound. Jayla Murray with her 4th rebound, her 2nd on the offensive end.
And that's what they need. They need some offensive rebounds.
Yankin with a little finger roll over the front of the rim. Yankin with 4. And lead down to 11. A whistle and a foul on, I think, Ella Ancio. One other thing that makes Beers almost impossible to defend is that she does her post work early.
Exactly.
Way before the ball gets across half court.
Yeah, she read my mind, because so many times people look at the post once they catch, but the work does have to come before the ball even gets there. And the thing I've been impressed about her is her ability to run the floor. She runs the floor much better than what you would think with, you know, being a power player, but she really does get up and down the floor easily.
Off the inbound, a quick shot by OU, misfired by Liz Scott. Offensive rebound, batted around and controlled by OU. And not only do you have to sprint back and beat Beers down the floor, you got to beat her to the spot she wants to be.
Exactly.
Double team, kick out. Keys with a nice catch. And an angle 3 from Kirsten Johnson, who doesn't shoot very many, but another offensive rebound by OU.
And that was a really good defensive possession by the Shockers. And
Keys got plowed into and hit the 3 anyway. That is a killer, as Oklahoma had at least 2 offensive rebounds on the same possession, and Keys buried a 3 and has an opportunity for 4.
Great hustle by Van on that play to keep the ball alive. And then, of course, Keys nails it.
Lexi Keys was 4 of 11 from three-point range so far this year. Good, not great, 36.4%. But she hasn't missed a shot here tonight. She has 11 points on 4 of 4 from the floor, knocks down the free throw. And just as in the first half, Tracy, when Wichita State got within 11, it was in a blink of an eye that lead was back up to 16 or 17.
I mean, just like that, they had a chance. They had played really good defense, and if they had garnered the rebound, they could have cut it to single digits.
And an over the back call on Jayla Murray after Sissoko missed her baseline jumper.
Yeah, that's a great box out by Scott. And again, the Shockers have to be careful here about letting it get out of hand. Be disciplined on the offensive end, have the right people taking the right kinds of shots. I think they're struggling a little bit with that.
Zaya Van kind of out of control and maybe got bailed out a little bit on that call by Jeff Wooten. Although KP Parr was maybe a half step slow. Here's another look. So Van gets the call, and she's going to get a couple of free throws. That's the 5th foul of the quarter, too, on Wichita State. That'll send Oklahoma to the line with every subsequent foul. And that free throw's off the heel. Oklahoma's only 2 out of 7 from the free throw line, and on the year, kind of a pedestrian 69% from the line. And the second one rolls in there for Van. Van has 7. Lead back up to 16 again, 5 in a row for Oklahoma. Murray working on Scott. Now to Yankin underneath. Reagan Beers digging in there at it and causes a tie-up.
Yeah, that's really tough. The ball went inside, and you have a 6'3" and a 6'4" player. I really do think Jayla needs to be a little bit more selfish with the ball. She had a pull-up jump shot, which she is deadly at that 8 to 10 foot range, and I thought that was just a little bit too much of an extra pass.
Jackson with a corner 3, a rare 3 for Wichita State today, or tonight rather. They're now 3 out of 10, and Jackson has missed both of hers. And a 3-second call by Jeff Wooten. You don't see very many of those.
No.
That's turnover number 15 on Oklahoma. We got a timeout on the floor. OU in control midway through the third. Claimed an 88-83 victory. That was back in 2019. Told you early in the game, Shockers hold a 6-4 advantage over the Sooners in Wichita. It's actually been over 21 years since Oklahoma won in Wichita. The game last year in Norman actually was led at halftime by Wichita State, 38-34, but Oklahoma came out with a 35 third-quarter blitz, 35-point third-quarter blitz to win it going away, 92-68. Terry Nooner in his second year at Wichita State.
And Shane, I really do have to give credit to Coach Nooner on the schedule that he's put together. I really do think that this is going to play positive dividends for his team when it comes to conference play. He didn't go with easy wins. He's brought in quality opponents across the board, mid-majors, really good mid-majors, and playing, ranked teams. And that's only going to make this team so much better in the conference.
Yeah, and that upcoming trip and those two neutral games will be against solid opponents as well.
Right.
Creighton out of the Big East and either Syracuse or Missouri. Back cut, deflected and out of bounds as Breon White was looking for a cutter. Murray and Jamison check in for Wichita State. Verhulst in for OU. Verhulst got off to a really quick start in that first quarter. Been a little quiet since then. Keys with 12. Verhulst with 11. Beers with 10 to pace Oklahoma. Shockers have two players with 10 apiece. Jamison and Murray both with 10 for the Shockers. And both teams' scoring has slowed down to a crawl for the first time in the game tonight. Verhulst with a steal. Goes coast to coast and hits from 16.
And that just kills you because that was really an unforced error. White really didn't have anywhere to go on the baseline, threw it away, and of course the Sooners are going to make you pay with Verhulst with the pull-up jumper.
Jamison in the land of the trees, couldn't finish. And quietly, Oklahoma has built its largest lead of 18 and now make it 20 and maybe 21 after Liz Scott was fouled and a bucket. Well, you can hang with them for a while. You can hold them down for a while, but you have to play at an extremely high level.
Just a beautiful transition. Great pass by, I think that was Van, the freshman.
Liz Scott injured last year, averaging a little over 7 per this year. She had 8 points in that rout of Western Carolina. So she'll go to the free throw line. Again, there's only really been 2 Achilles heels, I guess you could say, in this game for Oklahoma. They're just 3 out of 8 from the free throw line, and they have committed 15 turnovers in the game. They're double checking at the monitor who the actual foul would be whistled on.
Because if that's par, that's her 3rd.
And I believe that is the guilty party that they've identified. She and Jamison both with 2 fouls at the moment, but now KP Parr has picked up her 3rd. So to the line, Liz Scott. She is 6 of 9 from there this year and knocks it down. 3-point opportunity is converted. Liz Scott now with 5. This is the Sooners' biggest lead of the game.
Sooners coming out in a little bit of a press, kind of a run and jump.
Parr tries to take advantage, couldn't. And now Wichita State is in a scoring drought that is approaching 3.5 minutes.
And they've gotten good looks, just can't seem to knock one down.
And a 3-pointer in front of the OU bench by Zaya Van. That's her first triple. And maybe that's the equalizer from just average free throw shooting. They've made 8 of 16 from 3-point range.
That is an offensive juggernaut if you can get scoring anytime you want in the paint, and then you got it from on the perimeter.
Deflected out of bounds. It'll stay with Oklahoma. This is a 13-0 run. It's at least the second 13-0 run. Actually, OU had a 15-0 run in the first half. But 13 points in the last 3 minutes and 21 seconds when it looked like Wichita State had them bottled up a little bit. Jamison, a step back 3 off the heel, wouldn't go. Murray, a lefty banker, is good. Jayla Murray has been pretty steady offensively for the Shockers tonight. And a whistle and a travel on Keys. She was anticipating a player being open and kind of rose up on her tiptoes. And she was caught for a travel.
Oh, wow.
And a steal by Van, left it short, poked away by Jayla Murray. That was almost an easy free 2 points for Oklahoma.
They were very fortunate.
Approaching the 2-minute mark of the third quarter. OU trying to pull away from Wichita State here tonight. Parr is fouled. Skylar Van got her on the shoulder, and KP Parr will go to the free throw line.
Just a really good take, has the ability to turn the corner, strong for her size, and is pretty fearless.
Fourth foul of the quarter on Oklahoma, and Parr can't convert the free throw. Shockers came into this one converting only 50.7% of their free throws, and it almost did them in against Northern Iowa in their last game, but Jamison kind of bailed against USF. It's funny that the last two ranked teams they played were both ranked number 23, Oklahoma last year and USF back in 17-18. That was one of 3 wins against nationally ranked opponents. 2/3 of the officials got an earful from Coach Jenny Baranchek, the OU head coach. All 3 officials went to the monitor to look at something of what we kind of have speculated was maybe a non-basketball play. And apparently there was nothing nefarious determined from the replay. But Coach Baranchek was pretty adamant that
she's
there
still
was
talking.
something going on. Yeah. A steal by Ornella Niankin, who steps all the way through a kind of an unnecessary reverse layup.
Exactly what I was going to say. Didn't need to do that. Needed to just go for the layup.
And couldn't that be, and a jump ball will go to Oklahoma, couldn't that possibly be, Tracy, the fact that Niankin's not exactly comfortable shooting a left-handed layup?
Yeah.
Wanted to make it a righty layup.
Always had a coach say, you know, you don't need to, if you're trying to make the perfect play, you shouldn't be making it. You just make the play. Don't try to make it a perfect play.
So the tie ball will actually favor Wichita State, so they keep it on this end. With OU in front by 24, early stages, fourth quarter. This is the largest lead of the game for the Sooners, and Murray throws it away.
I really do think, I've said this before, I really do think Murray needs to be more aggressive with the ball right there. She needs to look to score. She's got a really great jump shot instead of turning it over.
And Jamison, I think, got a timeout before Beers tied her up. No, they're going to call a foul. So they will call a foul on Beers. That Jeff Wooten right-handed finger point toward the other end meant foul and not timeout. So Jamison got a call after Beers tried to tie her up. It's Beers' second foul.
But look at that, Shane. That's an All-American. You're up by 24, and she's still getting on the floor.
Trying to take it away from a smaller player and ball handler. Celeste Blow digging at that defensive rebound by Aubrey Jones. And a deflection by Celeste Blow. She's going to try to beat Culleton up the floor and draws a foul. Beatrice Culleton in kind of trail mode, trying to run down the quicker Celeste Blow.
Really nice job by Celeste. Great hands. And did a great job of actually, you know, kind of initiating the contact, and has a chance to knock down some free throws.
So Beers will go to the bench. 11 points, 9 rebounds for the preseason All-American. Blow will go to the free throw line. Aisha Endure will now check in for Ella Ancio. Had to properly do it, according to Mark Resch. She finally checked in and is able to enter the game. Celeste Blow, 4 points on just 1 of 8 shooting. The Shockers, after a kind of a moderate amount of success shooting from the floor, falling on hard times here in the second half, as many of the OU opponents will. Shooting just 31.5% from the floor. OU just tries to grind you into dust.
Yep.
Run you up and down the floor. They're deep and long and athletic team. And it's working here tonight. And a fling over the shoulder by Sahara Williams. Yeah, it sure did.
That would have been the play of the game, I think.
Van had it poked away, got it back, and in traffic, missed a shot. And a rebound and put back by Beatrice Culleton. She's also a Kansas native.
Yep.
From Overland Park. So she and Verhulst from the Sunflower State.
But again, that was just pursuit. She just wanted the ball more.
Culleton's first 2. She had 7 against Western Carolina. Minute and a half into the fourth quarter.
The ball's got to move. The ball's stuck on the left side of the floor, and Coach Ninner is upset about that because the ball never left. Ooh, that's going to be a tough. Yep. She was in the
restricted area. Verhulst really triggered that whole thing with a deflection of a kind of just a simple pass into the post. She knocked it away, created the steal, and then KP Parr was too far underneath the bucket. So Verhulst will get 2 with an opportunity at 3. She has 15 points and 5 rebounds to go along with 2 assists.
Coach is still fired up over there. I don't know if she thought one official called a charge, but it was called a block, and the right call.
Verhulst line drive free throw goes in. So OU is slowly and methodically built a substantial lead here in half number 2. 19-9, they outscored the Shockers in the third quarter. And they now enjoy their biggest lead and still working on it. Indoor 3-second call. That's 1 on each team now. So Indoor didn't do whatever she was planning on quick enough for Jeff Wooten's liking.
Shockers are going a little full court, try to turn the Sooners over. Great.
Culleton, another layup where she scored 4 points and had a blocked shot in the last 2+ minutes, dating back to the final play of the third quarter.
And that's kind of what you have to do against a pressing, a team that's getting out in the passing lanes. Move the ball quickly, and then it was just a high post dive to wide open.
And a whistle, and I think Terry Nooner wants a 30-second timeout. 23-point second quarter by Wichita State. You don't often say that because they are so prolific at scoring themselves, regularly scoring over 20 points in a quarter. But Oklahoma has kind of exerted its will here in the second half, and we kind of alluded to it or saw it coming or guarded against it, however you want to put it. It's one thing to hang with Oklahoma for 20 minutes, but they don't stop. 40 minutes of nonstop up and down, passing and cutting, and normally to pretty good precision. And Wichita State is kind of running out of fuel here in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, you just can't relax on either end of the floor.
Jasmine Peaks in there for the first time for Wichita State. She missed the Shockers last game. Verhulst grabs the defensive rebound. She's had a nice game, 16 points and 6 rebounds for her. Jordan Jackson checks back in for the Shockers for Celeste Blow. Jayla Murray, maybe a little less than 100% right now. She's kind of being tended to by Ella Ancio. Now she's going to come out in favor of Breon White. OU to trigger it in. The Sooners hanging around that 51% mark as far as the shooting percentage from the floor. That's right at their season average, believe it or not. 51.5% in their first 3 games, plus this one.
So if you're the Sooners, you're wanting to work through some stuff, use the clock, take great shots. And if you're the Shockers, you want to just make improvements, okay? You want to do a better job, execute, do the little things, take care of the ball.
And I think I can speak for both coaches here in a runaway, regardless of how it is, who it favors. You play hero ball from here on out,
right,
and that will show up quick on the film.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And so both teams will have to guard against that and kind of ignore the score right now and just continue to play the way you've been taught.
Right, and do what you can do and improve
Pass into the right corner for a long three over everything. Van, after a pretty good pass for Verhulst. Van turned down the three there with 5 to shoot. The shot clock's still going because it didn't hit the rim. And a buzzer-beating shot by Williams wouldn't go down. So Wichita State gathers with 5.5 left to go in the game. Wichita State, just a few too many scoring droughts that approached or went past 3 minutes. And those are killers when you play in Oklahoma. You got to continue to score. Inside 10 seconds now on the shot clock as Peaks has got to go here. Forces, left it short.
Good
Verhulst,
defense.
another rebound.
Yeah, great defense by Tot there. Just really couldn't, Peaks couldn't turn the corner.
And regardless of what Oklahoma does offensively the rest of the way, I would imagine that Coach Baranczyk wouldn't want it to happen with much more than 20 seconds on the shot clock. Let's bleed the clock down and get out of here. Layup is good by Skylar Van.
Just a great cut. The Sooners have been really good as far as reading the defense, getting cuts.
Verhulst has had her hand on a lot of passes on the OU defensive side. 5 new Sooners check in, including Raina Scott, who had 2 early points for OU. And the Sooner faithful behind the bench rise and give an ovation to the 5 that come out of the game, presumably for the final time, or one of the last times anyway.
You know, and Verhulst has had a really nice game. I mean, she has 16 points and, 7 rebounds.
Yep. Couple of assists.
Yeah, she's had a great all-around game.
White with a long 2 is good. Breon White doesn't often stray that far for a shot, but she's got 8 points. Kirsten Johnson in there handling it now. Hands off to Scott. Back cut by Keys. And a whistle and a foul. One thing the fourth quarter hadn't seen much of is fouls. Only 2 on each team. Lobbed into Scott, and White, who's over her last 3 games at Wichita State, really finds herself around the ball a lot.
Yes,
and that's no accident. She's got a nose for it.
Very strong. Quick off the floor.
Defensive specialist, too. She's found her offense tonight. That's back-to-back buckets. White now with 10 points. She's 5 of 6 from the floor.
Just a give and go. They've just executed the give and go almost to perfection. That didn't go down, but
that's Lexi Key's first miss of the game.
Yeah, the Shockers haven't done a very good job of that. They haven't taken away that offensive part of the Sooners game.
Heads up play by Kirsten Johnson to prevent a turnover, and then her pass to Keys is too hot to handle. It's turnover number 22 for the Sooners, but it's not going to be enough for Wichita State tonight. OU will, though, be held quite a bit under their season average. They average nearly 98 points per game. So the final score here will be cosmetic, but Wichita State can take a few things away, I think, from this game in defeat at the hands of a top 10 team in the country.
Yes.
Another turnover by OU.
And they've done some really good things defensively. I mean,
timeout on the floor because Jenny Baranczyk is hot at the way this game is wrapping up for the Sooners.
And, as a coach, Shane, you're constantly teaching. And if you're not, then you shouldn't be in this profession. And it doesn't matter if you're up 20 or down 20. You're trying to get your kids to understand the urgency of the situation. It's that this game is won, yes, but if you try to do those things consistently against higher competition, it's going to cost us.
And you can't let the second unit slide. Otherwise, the second unit is not going to get meaningful minutes in games down the stretch.
It takes a whole unit. It doesn't just take 5. It takes everybody on that team doing their part, whether they played 10 minutes or 2 or 30.
And OU last year, 23-10, 15-3 in the Big 12, made it to the second round of the NCAAs. They're no stranger to playing in the tournament under Coach Baranczyk, and that's the kind of thing that I'm sure she has her eyes looking forward to. That's way down the line, but if OU wants to make a run in the NCAA tournament, these are the kinds of things that they have to clean up. Travel by White. We'll give it back to the Sooners. So kind of a sloppy ending to this one, but when it mattered, Oklahoma really imposed its will on Wichita State. Wore down the Shockers with a breakneck pace, right at 50% or better from the floor most of the night. And really, I thought the X factor for Oklahoma, there's an offensive foul on Raina Scott. I thought the X factor for Oklahoma, Tracy, was 10 out of 21 from three-point range.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Shockers were going to have to play a near flawless game anyway and hope that the Sooners didn't play well, but the Sooners knocked down the three with consistency early on, and that kind of was the game from there.
Inside 2 minutes, Oklahoma comfortably in front, but kind of limping to the finish line. 6 to shoot for Wichita State. White wants a long three over everything. That is not her game, but that's what Oklahoma does. Get you out of your comfort zone. Van digging at it in backcourt, and Wichita State will get it with 1:26 left. She was trying to wrestle it away from Ornella Yankin. Been stuck on 76-49 for a while now. Approaching the 1 minute mark left in this one. Jasmine Peaks getting multiple minutes for the Shockers here down the stretch after missing the last game with a personal issue. White forces, hits bottom of the rim. Johnson running the floor, rejected by Nyankin, and she stepped on the baseline.
Shockers have become very stagnant offensively. The ball is kind of sticking. There's no movement. Kind of made them easy to defend.
Jump ball. It'll stay on this end. In the opener, Oklahoma put 76 on Southern. That was their previous low output on offense. They kicked it in a high gear against Virginia and Western Carolina, scoring 95 points against Virginia and that 122 against Western Carolina. And Johnson will go to the foul line where she's 1 for 2. They've been just okay from there tonight as well. 6 out of 12 as Terry Nooner looks on in the final 52.8. And that free throw snakes around the rim and spins out. So Oklahoma will get to 4-0. Wichita State will fall to 2-3. And both these teams will hit the road for the next few. OU going to Vegas from here to play their next 3 in Sin City. And a steal and a breakaway layup is good. Liz Scott breaks the field goal drought for both teams. And the lead swells to 30. White and Sissoko playing catch for Wichita State. And Sissoko shuffled her feet and will turn it over. Shot clock is off, so that might be your final, depending on how frisky OU's feeling here in the final possession of the game. And Jenny Baranczyk is holding her hand out and saying, nope, that's enough. Sooner faithful rising to its feet here at Charles Koch Arena. There are a lot of Sooner fans in attendance. And OU will be content to dribble it out and win this one by 30. 79-49 is your finals. Oklahoma stays undefeated on the season. We will be right back.